Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Christy, Alonso, getting caught up on Steven Soderbergh's Kimi, which dropped on HBO Max last week. We did not get around to talking about it, but we're doing that now.
We are, and you should check it out too. But first, please make sure you have subscribed so you do not miss fun midweek reviews like this, and hit that bell. Awesome. Good to see you guys. Happy Tuesday. We're talking about Kimi. Zoe Kravitz stars as a Seattle tech worker with the most amazing loft, by the way.
Yes.
I don't know how she affords that Seattle loft on what she does for a living, because she's like a behind the scenes person. Her job is fascinating. She works with this company that has a device that everyone's got on their countertops, their desktops. It's like Siri, but it's called Kimi, Kimi. And her job is to go through and listen to streams where there's been some kind of miscommunication, or Kimi didn't get the question, or just trying to resolve that missed opportunity to
didn't understand the turn
right.
of phrase. It's a regionalism or something.
Yeah, to help the person who's the customer, the subscriber. And then on one of the streams, she thinks she hears something terrifying and more dangerous, and not just like a kid goofing around. It's a woman and she's screaming, and there's a scuffle going on in the background. And I love the way this segment of the film is edited, because it's so brisk. The whole thing is so tight and so brisk. It's under 90 minutes. It just zips by, and you're just on edge the whole time. But this whole segment where she is bringing down certain levels. She's a total like sound and tech expert. She's got all kinds of cables and devices and boxes and hookups, and she can fine tune that exact piece of sound that she wants to finally discern what is being said.
It's interesting. There's a reissue of The Conversation happening right now. Like there's a new remaster 35 print that's going around the country, because that sequence is very much right out of The Conversation, where she's like stripping out the audio to find the things she's looking for.
Right. And it's very much, it owes a lot to Rear Window. It's like a high-tech Rear Window. But the way that they couch it within COVID makes all of that totally relevant and feel totally vital. Like, he must have made this movie like last week, because it could not feel more up to the moment, because not only is it a COVID movie, but it's like a coming out of COVID and like trying to resume normalcy kind of movie, because people are leaving their houses now, and the connections that they forge across the way, like people who live in lofts across the street, like they make these friendships that you wouldn't expect. And that feels very real and sort of emotional in the way that they connect within the isolation. But
there's also a shout out to Home Alone, by the way. I don't know if you noticed.
Yes, I did. There's a character. Yes, there is. That's a good point. But people are starting to come out, like wear masks to go to the food truck down the street. And so it could not feel more up to the minute. Zoe Kravitz is great in this as someone who's a step ahead, but also our conduit into all of this. And what is going on, I'm not sure is as interesting as her investigation of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think this movie is really effective as a thriller. Like everything that Soderbergh is doing, not just the directing, but of course, once again, he's shooting for himself and he's cutting for himself. Is terrific. The way that he the sense of mood that he creates, the way that Zoe Kravitz's character, deals with the world inside of her apartment as opposed to the world outside of her apartment. The way that the editing suddenly gets a lot jumpier and more jittery. There is a sequence, talk about being up to the minute. There's a sequence involving a protest that is an extraordinary just moment of filmmaking, and really thrilling and exhilarating. I think where this movie to me is less than it could have been is in the writing, because you are sort of set up to believe that this is going to be a movie about, these devices we have in our home and how they're listening to us. And it's going to sort of tap into some sort of like larger conspiracy or ideas about lack of privacy, but it's really almost a MacGuffin. It's really just sort of there to get us to her hearing the thing that she shouldn't be hearing. And then by sheer coincidence, that having to do with certain power players. And then there's also, I think they bring up a lot of stuff about her character, because she's isolated, not just because of COVID. She has like actual agoraphobia. And she talks to her therapist online about this, and we get some insight as to what kind of caused that and what's happened in her past that have brought her to where she is at the moment. And then by the end of the movie, they kind of just sort of like, it's fine, and they sort of slough it off, and everything's great. And I kind of feel like if you're going to tap into mental illness and trauma and the things that this movie provides in the character, then you have the responsibility to really see that through and not just sort of like, wish it away, basically, which is kind of what the movie does. And I think you could have just had her be isolated because of COVID, and that would have been plenty,
Right.
and leave out that other stuff, and then that way we don't feel like you ignored it later.
But COVID kind of gives her the excuse to be agoraphobic, right?
Well, sure, yeah.
They go hand in hand for her. This is not at all an indictment of technology, which is interesting. This is not an indictment of the intrusive, omniscient nature of these devices, because they're actually used for good.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
they're used
more
to
than
connect people.
Exactly. No more than Blow Up was an indictment of cameras,
No, but the way there's a whole brilliant sequence.
Yes.
Where she is under attack and she uses the Kimi.
Kimi comes to the rescue.
It's so fun and terrifying, but she's so smart and she's so good at thinking in the moment, again, within the confines of the place where she feels safe.
Yes.
That's where she's the most powerful.
And you do get like a Chekhov's backstory early on that then pays off in a pretty cool way later when she's, having to defend herself. So yeah, there's a lot that I like about this, and I think people should absolutely see it. And you're right, it is a quick in and out. And Soderbergh is a real craftsman. I just wish David Koepp's screenplay, either don't introduce these things at all, both with her backstory and the tech stuff, or like commit to it and see it through.
Yes, and there's a performance. There's an actor who comes in later on in the film who is just chilling in like one scene. And a good reminder that when you go to HR, they're not necessarily on your side. They're not there to help you.
This is true.
Yeah. So I'm saying 7.8.
I said 7.2.
Okay, great. So 7.5.
7.5
is our number. Kimi's on HBO Max. It's a really cool, breezy, fun watch.
Yes, absolutely. Check it out. So thanks for checking us out. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, click that bell, and of course, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. This week for our Off the Menu, where we were doing Black Romances for February, and we're talking about Sidney Poitier starring in and directing A Warm December, which is currently streaming on Tubi. It's going to be airing later this week on TCM when they do their 2-day Poitier tribute. So join us for that. And of course, our recaps of Gilded Age and Pam and Tommy and Peacemaker, all this great stuff that you can only get if you're a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.